Good day guys, this is your tutor engineer. Today we'll be discussing Ogives. I'll show you how to plot the Ogive curve. So let's start with our today's lesson. Okay, the question says the height in centimeters of the number of pupils are measured as in the table below. The first question is 7.1. How many students took part in the survey? So this is basically asking us to calculate the sample size. That's how many students took part in the survey. So the way we're going to do that, you're going to get the total of our frequency, and then it will give us the sample size. So the total is going to be 1. We're adding all the values that we've been given on the table below for frequency, and then it will give us the sample size that is going to be the same as the number of students. So it's about 15 students. So let's write here 15. That's the total, which is going to be the same as the number of students. Okay, 7.2 says what is the modal interval? Just take note, it says the modal interval. It does not say what is the mode, which is related. So the modal interval, that means you must give the answer in an interval rather than in just a value. Then it will be a mode. Okay, now let's calculate the modal interval. The way you're gonna identify it is we have to look at your frequency. Which one is the highest value of your frequency? You have 8. 8 is the highest value. So, which means this will be our modal interval. 170 to 180. So let's write it here. 170 to, this should be part of question 17.2. So let's write it under 7.2. It's 170 and 180. Okay, question 7.3 says what is the estimated mean? Okay, let's work out the mean. I did discuss it in one of my previous videos, how to get the mean, which would be our approximate mean. We're going to work out the midpoint of our interval, and then we're going to work out the product of the midpoint and frequency, and then we'll get the mean. Okay, so the midpoint is between 150 and 160. You calculate the average. 150 plus 160 divided by 2. What is going to be the average? It's going to be 155. Right? So the second line will do the same thing. 160 and 170 average is going to give us 165. This one will give us 175. Okay, then here we're going to have 185. I hope you can see the pattern, which makes sense because 185 is like, we should be in the middle between 180 and 190. And then here we're going to have 195. And then that's going to be the midpoints. And then now let's get the product between the midpoint and the frequency. So basically here you're going to have 1, which is our frequency, multiplied by 155, which is going to give us 155. Here you're going to have 4 times 165, which is 4 times 165 is going to be 660. 660, and then you're going to have 8 multiplied by 175. 8 multiplied by 175, it's going to give us 1400. And then here 1 times 185 is going to give us 185. 1 times 195 is 195. So let's get the sum of midpoint multiplied by frequency, because you have to remember that the mean is equal to the sum of midpoint multiplied by frequency divided by the sample size. We've already worked out the sample size under question 1, which is the number of students. Okay, so now we're working out the midpoint times frequency. So the midpoint times frequency would be 155 plus 660 plus 1400 plus 185 plus 195, which will give us 2595. So we have 2595, meaning our approximate or estimated mean is going to be 2595 divided by 15, which will be divided by 15, you get something went wrong there. Let's start again. 2595 divided by 15, 173. So that is going to be our estimated mean in centimeters. Okay, the final question is draw the Ogive or the Ogive curve. So in order to draw the Ogive curve, you need to work out the cumulative frequency. Okay, I'll show you how you do that. So the first value of the cumulative frequency should be the same as your frequency, which is for the frequency you have a 1, you're also going to have a 1 on your cumulative frequency. So the next value is cumulative. I think the term is self-explanatory. You basically are accumulating your frequency. So you have to add 1 plus 4, which you're going to get a 5. And then you keep on adding, basically. You keep on accumulating. The next value for frequency is 8. So you add an 8, you get 13. So the next one, you're going to add a 1, you get a 14. And then another one, you get a 15. The way to check whether your cumulative frequency is correct, the last value of your cumulative frequency should give you the frequency. So this is how you work out the cumulative frequency. So now let's plot the Ogive curve. Basically, the Ogive curve is going to be your cumulative frequency on one axis. Okay, I think I went down too deep. Your cumulative frequency on one axis, on your y-axis. Okay, let's write here cumulative frequency. That's going to be on the y-axis. Let's just go a little bit down. Then on your x-axis, you're going to be having interval. This is where you're going to put the interval. So basically your interval starts from 150 and then 160, then you have 170, you have 180, 190, then you have 200. Okay, so between 150 and 160, the cumulative frequency is 1. Okay, let's first work out the scale. Let's work out the scale as, since your cumulative frequency last value is 15, let's work out the scale in 5, 10, 15. This should accommodate all the values of your cumulative frequency. So between 150 and 160, we have a 1. A 1 is about, between 150 and 160, you must just choose the highest value. You must choose 160, where you're going to plot your values against your interval. So here is going to be a 1, and then on the next interval, 160 and 170, we have a 5. So a 5 is about here. It's easy when you're plotting this on the exercise book. You're able to use a ruler to ensure that your values are aligned with the x-axis and y-axis. So the next value for this interval, this particular interval, is 13. So 13 is about there, between 10 and 15. And then the next value is 14 that you're gonna plot just below 15. So 14 is there. Then finally you're gonna have 15. So let's use a different color to plot the archive, or we can use this very same color. Okay, let's just do this. You can start from here with the archive. Okay, let's just choose a different color to make it a little bit smarter. Okay, you can start from, and then you just join all the values with a nice curve. Yes. So this is your archive curve. This is how you plot it. We'll end our video here. So stay tuned for my next video. If you did like today's lesson, please subscribe or like my video. So you will keep well, and then we'll meet again the next time. Cheers.